I'll send you emails.
So I work with Chris Storm.
So if I can put this on your shirt, and I might even be able to just put it in your pocket.
That would work.
Okay. And then right now it is hot, but if you need to, you can hit this little switch. And when it turns yellow, it's muted. And when it's green, it's live. Okay. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, if you just put it in your breast pocket, maybe.
Great.
Thank you. All right. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
All right, good, good. Can I put it in here?
Yes.
Okay.
Please. Thank you.
All right, so I'll clip it here. Actually, I'll clip it on the outside. Okay, and then the mic is hot. It's really only for the live stream.
Okay.
So not for the room. But if you need to, for any reason, if you know. It's green. Everyone can hear you. But I do my best.
Sounds. I understand. I appreciate
I gotta warn people.
So. I won't be muttering under my breath. Yeah. You know. Thank you.
And then if you want to be the guardian of the talking stick.
Hi, how you doing?
I missed you this morning. Sorry. No, it's okay. I'll do it right here.
That was like last minute.
It does look like Mickey Mouse. Here. Okay. Well, hey, I'm Rob.
Hi, Rob.
Nice to
We met virtually. I
Yeah,
think.
that's right. Yeah.
Do it again.
Oh,
Wanna
shake
shake
the
hands?
hands
Okay.
again.
Cool. Awesome. Good to see you again.
Anyway, sorry, that was really good.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm thinking, I'm making a list of stuff.
Checking it twice.
Yeah. So there's some stuff you can go with.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll be good.
Good.
Yeah. Hi.
Hey, Rob Donaldson.
Hello, I'm JJ Lamb.
Yes.
With SEAC and with Health Preservation Society.
Oh, very cool. Excellent. Nice to meet you.
So it's very nice to meet you.
Me as well. Excited to be here.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. No.
No.
I'm just teasing.
This is the part of my job I really like to do. I like to come talk to people, so this is good.
Anything that gets run out of the office is a good thing.
Yes.
Yeah. Elaine, do you have a talking, I'm the keeper of the talking stick.
Oh, does I need to be more mic?
You want it, oh, let me ask Joe if he has another mic. Hey, Gerald. Do you have another mic for Elaine?
Oh, she can use that.
Oh, she can use this one? Okay.
Hey, I'm probably going to run after I'm done speaking. Do I just give this back to you? After?
Sure.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Cool. Thanks.
I think it, yeah.
Hey,
See you.
Bill said you were at the meeting Wednesday night. I didn't. Did you come to the meeting? The constable?
I did see you were across, and then I got way back by certain people, and you were gone, and I thought, oh, I mean, he's from me.
No, I didn't. No,
No, I just.
Yeah, I didn't even see you. Sorry.
Oh, but-
Good to see you. You doing well? You know Ed?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I taken over these weeks.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the I'm so sorry. And I did mention. And I didn't call them, but I heard when the hospital do something they never understood.
Okay. I'm shocked. If you can get Diamond Ventures to do it, you could probably get Costco to do it. What do you want him to do? Well, if you don't ask, you won't know, right?
Thank you. Exactly. I'll let you know. Say no. I don't think they have a response.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll see if I can get it on trees. But I'm
Yeah. Are you right? Are you sure?
I'm a bossy one, JJ.
I
Have
know
we
that.
met yet?
Yes, I'm pretty classy, so that's
But
Oh, yes, I plan to ask questions.
This is a problem. It's not any
Oh, I know.
Yeah, and I'm like, can I choke down?
But he said, you know, if you have any questions, he says, feel free to email me. So, yeah, he was, and he, I mean, when he said, well, the standard is Well, when I sit down,
You can take it off because there won't be any questions for a while. Yeah. If you want to. This one doesn't have a little.
I can
Just hold it like a.
and then when they get up to speak, they're mic'd up. So I can just take this with me.
Yeah, well, or you can give it to me later. Well, whenever you're done talking and there's questions.
Yeah,
Because I was gonna run
I mean,
around.
can you bring that down?
Okay. I'll just.
When you wouldn't. Is there an Aaron Johnson? Yes. Can you remember what she'll call
At some point.
Sorry, you're Aaron? I am. Hi, Elaine. Hi, nice to meet you too. Are you ready? Huh. All right, kids. Sorry. Wrong crowd, sorry. Yeah, oh yeah, what is that? This means quiet? All right, we're gonna get started. Good to see all of you. Forgive us for our delay. We've got a lot of people here tonight. We also have a lot of people out in Facebook land. So anyway, hello and welcome to the first SEAC community meeting of 2026. My name is Elaine Schmerbeck and I'm on the board for SEAC. SEAC, you're new, stands for no, it doesn't stand for anything. It's SEAC. It stands for Southeast Area Council, which means we serve the southeast communities of Pima County. So we have other SEAC board members with us tonight. We have Miss Alicia McKenzie, Miss April Moss. Sorry, there she is. Carol Wagner-Williams is over there too. JJ Lamb right here. Larry Stevenson is right here. And Seth Silvers. Hey, good, nice to meet you. Our newest. Awesome. Well, welcome and thank you all. We also, I believe we are all VIPs, but we have I want to name a few others here with us tonight. Erin Johnson. Erin works for Supervisor Steve Christie. So she is going to be the liaison, there she is, between us and them. So thank you so much for joining us and welcome. So continuing on with VIPs. About 4 months ago, students from Cienega High School here in Vail had their op-ed letters published in the September issue of the Vail Voice. And it was about traffic issues. It was about sidewalks are needed, widening of roads was needed, there's traffic congestion. And I thought, if we ever have a community meeting about transportation, I believe these students should be invited. So I reached out to their teacher to invite them to this meeting, and 2 of them are able to make it tonight. So I don't want to embarrass you. You can just wave your hand, but I think we are in the presence of future leaders. There's our high school students come here tonight. So there's Elizabeth Olson and Mia Amron. Just do this. There you go. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And just a little heads up if you're new here before going any further. Besides being physically here, this meeting is also being broadcast live on Facebook. So if you have any questions, we ask that you use a microphone. You're going to see this kind of shoved under you, and and the presenters already have been mic'd up. So this isn't for this room; it's for out there on Facebook land, so that those out on Facebook can hear you. And also, we eventually do get copied. The video gets copied over onto YouTube. So, but if you can't hear me or the speakers, please let us know. So we're going to get started. I never had you guys do a arm wrestling. Who would like to go first? Paul,
Who would like to go? Does it matter? Paul?
Probably defer to Rob.
Okay.
Oftentimes the development piece triggers the need for traffic analysis.
There you go.
So
There you go. Okay.
answering that way might make sense.
Okay.
We can tag team questions or
Okay.
whatever works for you.
All right. So Rob is our speaker, one of our speakers from Pima County, and like he said, he's going to update us on all the development projects in the area. Rob Donaldson is new to Arizona, having just started as a deputy planning official for Pima County Development Services Department. He just started this past fall. Prior to joining Pima County, he worked as a land use planner and a regional transportation planner for Loudoun County government in Virginia. He also served as a voting member of the Metropolitan Washington Council of Governments Transportation Planning Board and staff liaison to the Commonwealth Transportation Board, as well as the Northern Virginia Transportation Authority. Rob is a graduate of West Virginia University College of Law with a concentration in energy and sustainable development. So please, welcome to Arizona, sir. And we probably have the same temperatures right now as Virginia, no snow. That's okay. All right. Well, so welcome, sir. Welcome. Right here.
Hi, everyone. Thank you all for having me tonight. I'm excited to be here. Chris just said I just moved here. I came during, I think, the beautiful season is what everyone keeps on telling me in Arizona. So, you know, talk to me in a few months when it's, I guess, 115 and maybe I'll have a different opinion. But love Arizona, and we're really happy to be here. I just have a few talking points for tonight. I'm going to give an update on the permit status for Rocking K. Talk about there's a new battery storage rezoning that's happening over on Wilmot. And then talk about, we also have approved a new plat policy and accessible dwelling unit policy. So I'm just gonna go through those real quick. So Rocking K, still moving along. We're at a total of over 4,000 permits so far, almost 3,000 single family residence permits. Things are moving, things are getting issued. I think we're at almost, 13 certificates of occupancy that have gone all the way through, but things are progressing, we're happy, things are moving forward. That's pretty much the big update on that. So over on Wilmot Road, I think across from maybe the federal penitentiary, there's a rezoning that's going on right now. It's going to the Planning Commission in January on the 28th. It's for what's called a battery storage facility. Am I too quiet or too loud? Perfect, okay. Louder? Yeah, I can talk really loud. So battery storage facility, it's helping with the clean energy in Arizona. So essentially it will store energy and for TEP. The applicant for that is Solus Energy Center LLC. And it's at, you know, I'm not a big energy guy, but it's at 138 kilovolts, if that means anything to anyone in the crowd here. So some big things that are kind of exciting for the Department of Development Services are we recently in December had a final plat policy that was approved. So previously when a plat got all the way through, before being approved, it was brought to the Board of Supervisors. The board would have a vote, but it was kind of a perfunctory vote because they couldn't really say no, right? And the state realized this. They passed a law that essentially gave counties the option to delegate this to the director or to anyone in the county. So our Board of Supervisors has elected to have the Director for Development Services be able to sign off on final plats. It's still brought over to the chair of the board for the final signature. But this way, instead of having, you know, developments held up for 6 weeks, 12 weeks, waiting to go to a board hearing, the Director of Development Services can now sign off on them. They're approved. It will help developments get built faster. It'll help the process move a lot smoother. So we're very excited about that. The actual policy for that is going to go in, I just wrote it, so hopefully February 3rd at the board, they'll approve that and it'll be memorialized, and Chris Poirier, the Director of Development Services, will then sign off on those moving forward. Kind of the last thing I have, and I'm going to have lots of time for questions too. If you have questions, I'm happy to answer those. Is you may have heard about the accessible dwelling unit law that was passed by the state of Arizona. So Arizona has essentially said that all counties must allow accessible dwelling units on all properties in Arizona. We knew this was coming. We've been working on this even before I started with the county. And on December 2nd, the board voted for the county's version of this, essentially our policy to memorialize the state law. They gave us a little bit of leeway to work with. So what was voted on is essentially you're allowed to have one attached and one detached accessible dwelling unit on each property. So an accessible dwelling unit, you might think of it, it's sort of like a guest house, except it's really more like being able to build another whole house on a property. So when you build a guest house, often that shares electricity, it shares plumbing with the main house. This has all of its own utilities. They pay an impact fee just like if they were building a regular house, and you can rent them out unlike guest houses. So the point of this is kind of to allow more affordable housing for the state of Arizona, which as we all know is kind of a big crisis right now in Arizona. So again, like I said, you can have one attached and one detached, or you can have two detached homes. When you get to a third home on lots over 1 acre, there's some more restrictions. It has to be deed restricted to be affordable. I think it's at 80% of the affordability rating. You can build up to 1,250 square feet. Like I said, you can rent them out for short-term rentals. There has to be an owner actually living in the main house on the property. You can't just have 3 houses that are rented out on a short-term basis doing Airbnb. And there's no existing parking requirements. You have to have an access easement that will use that access easement. So it's generally a really positive things, and the board's made it actually even easier. Before, there's some communication about limiting it to only site-built houses. That's where you literally go out and you construct the house on the site. The board decided that it'd be more equitable to allow for manufactured homes on zoning districts that already allow manufactured homes. You can have your ADU also be a manufactured home, which is nice. You still can't on the zones that don't allow manufactured houses or trailers, but if it allows it, you can build it. And that's really all of my updates. We kind of had a few to go on, but I'm happy to answer any questions. And I'm also, I'll give you out, my name is Robert Donaldson. You can email me at robert.donaldson@pima.gov, and I'm happy to answer any questions there too. Yes, sir.
Question on the mobile home thing. That is within the, and I understand the unincorporated portion of the county, not within the city of Tucson, is that correct?
So I believe there's a separate law that was passed previously for Tucson. So Tucson has its own ADU laws. I'm talking about purely in unincorporated Pima County.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
I would say I just have concerns about, all of these accessory dwellings really not benefiting those who, the housing needs. But instead, benefiting Airbnb. How does it really fill the need that is real?
And it's always hard, right? And I think this is the first step. The state took the step to try to address this. It's impossible really to stop people from living in their main house, building 2 ADUs and renting them out on Airbnb. But the hope is that we'll have at least more access to affordable housing. And again, at least with the third unit being restricted to income restriction, there's some hope that if someone gets to that point, maybe at least we'll have one that we're getting that's going to be affordable. But it's definitely, we completely understand. We're trying to do the best we can with what we have, but hopefully the state, will have some more regulations moving forward. And I know Pima County is trying to do everything we can to address that need. Thank you. Any other questions?
There's one question, Chad.
Oh yeah.
Are there any updates on the Esmond Station Regional Park?
I don't have any updates at the moment with me, but I will write that down. If they want to email me, again, my email is robert.donaldson, spelled exactly how it sounds, @pima.gov. I'm happy to answer any questions. That's robert.donaldson@pima.gov. Send me that email. I'm happy to answer it. I'll give them an answer.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So, do you know anything about the Vale Crossing area?
A little bit. Again, I'm pretty new, so if it's an ultra specific question, I might have to write it down and come back to you with an answer.
Okay, so I have several different questions on the Vale Crossing.
Okay.
For those out there that don't know about the Vale Crossing, that's the 250 homes planned by Bourne, plus they're also got part of the commercial up by the freeway, I believe. Is that correct? So on the Bell Crossings, we have 3 areas over there that only have one ingress egress. So you have Success Road, you have Trotter Sisters, and you have Dawn Road. So there's only one ingress egress on all 3 of those, which impacts anything having to do with safety, fire, rescue, any of that. They did have this last year at Dawn, there was an accident with a fatality, so the road was blocked off, and then my understanding was one of the residents down that road, there was also an emergency there, and nobody could get back there for them. So my question is, on the Bell Crossing, because you're talking 250 homes that are going to go down to Success Drive. You have one ingress egress. You're going to add 250 more homes, which normally would be a total of at least 500 more cars, depending on how many drivers. So my questions are, was there an impact study done on that area? Was the area of focus for the impact study, what was that area of focus? What various intersections? Did they go a half mile to the north and a half mile to the south? Because Success Road is also between the tracks. And we have 48 trains a day. We also have year-round schools. So I want to know what the parameters were on that impact study. Because with 250 more houses, at least 500 more cars, I want to know what the national standard is for the rating of what this impact is going to be. The national standard is 10 car trips a day. So even though you have possibly 500 more cars, you're actually going to have over 2,500 car trips a day. So you're actually having a major congestion there. So there was a proposed plan that has been brought up that they're going to do a right turn only out of Success. So if you have to go to the freeway, folks, you got to turn right, which is north, not south. And then they're going to do a U-turn on the south side of the north track. So now semis wanting to go into the food bank, I don't know how semis are going to make that turn, but I suppose they will. You have school buses, plus you have people that need to go to the freeway. Now you also have people coming out of Vail that are going to go across those tracks to the freeway to go to work, to drop kids off at the school, because you have an elementary school on the south side of the tracks towards the Trotter Sisters, and you have the junior high on the north side of the tracks. So you have 2 schools, 2 railroad tracks with 48 trains a day. You're going to add 250 to 500 more cars, which equates to over 2,500 trips a day, plus the people that are already there. And you're wanting them, if they're going to go to the freeway to go to work, to turn right and then make a U-turn. So the idea is to solve the congestion problem and the issue of safety. And I don't see where that's going to happen, because I see you having more congestion, because now you got everybody wanting to make that U-turn when you have all the other people waiting to, and then you have people going in towards Vail to the junior high or to the Safeway or to the Walgreens. So now you've just added more congestion. So I'd like some answers to those 3 questions. The impact study and what it revealed, and what was the area of focus. And if you have any difference on the national standard.
I would, again, I'll Happy to. When I'm done speaking, I'll come over to you and I'll get your email address and I'll send you an email tomorrow. I'm not familiar with that one. I have to take a look at it myself, but I can send you all that information and I'll do some research for you tomorrow.
Well, we have Bingham here if he wants to have some answers.
I can answer part of this. Paul, maybe you have comments on I can say that there was a required traffic impact study that was done. I've got a mic
Oh, yeah.
on me already, so that is a requirement for this type of development. It did focus on the access point. I can't recall off the top of my head the extent of that examination, but that essentially comes from the developer hiring a traffic engineer to do that traffic impact study and work with the development services team to accommodate all the requirements related to code and traffic pieces that are required to accommodate the number of trips that will be generated from the development. And then what Development Services does is they coordinate with the Department of Transportation, bring us into the dialogue. As we were brought into the dialogue, the determination of how to address the access point for Success Drive between the railroad tracks was really the issue that we got most involved in. Initially, there was a traffic signal being considered. That didn't ultimately work from an operational perspective, and that's why you're finding the solution as the right out only with the loon type U-turn option that will accommodate semis and large vehicles. So it will sweep around, similar to some of the indirect left turns you see in town on Grant Road and Oracle and Ina and those types. The initial phases will not require signalizing that as more trips are generated in future phases. There is a trigger point. I can't recall what it is off the top of my head, but we've got that on the horizon as additional units may come online and additional trips are generated. There would be a requirement to signalize that left turn, which would help meter traffic along Colossal Cave between the tracks.
Okay, so I have a question now because of that. So you're saying that the left turn would be like what they did at Ina and Valencia, where you go past and then turn around and come back to make your left turn, so now you're making a right turn?
Similarly to the U-turn portion of that, you would only be able to exit right out of Success Drive onto Colossal Cave and travel north. Make the U-turn in order to ultimately travel south.
So but people going into Success Drive, they don't have to bypass and come back?
No.
Okay, so my next question is, obviously, these three areas, you could easily pick them up with a road on the back end that headed towards I-10. You could easily pick up all three of these areas, your Trotter Sisters, your Success, and your Dawn Drive, which then gives you another ingress egress, and you only have to go over one railroad track, not two, because the north track is not an issue.
So the trick there becomes how to impose a reasonable solution onto a developer that is in concurrence with code and regulations, that is not an exorbitant new facility that will essentially make it so that the development itself is not near profitable and can't even turn a profit. So provided that they can accommodate the trips generated and connect to the network in the appropriate manner, the developer will work with their traffic engineer to seek that solution set to the degree that it meets all the regulations and is the least impact from their perspective and from the existing network perspective.
Okay, so
we can't really force a new facility on a developer if they can accommodate the trips through another connection.
So that's through another, because now I'm sitting here, because you said that they, you know, you don't want to the developer, we can't break him and he goes poor. So I look at that and I think, well, it doesn't take much to build a road. And I think it's cheaper than putting a bridge up over the Pantano and putting culverts in at Camino Loma Alta and Spanish Trail. I mean, I look at the things that Diamond Ventures has had to do, and this is just a road that picks up 3 little subdivisions, if you want to call them that. And going over the railroad tracks, you don't even need a bridge because you only have 1 track. And I know working with the railroad is not easy, but if you had just the way it is now going over the railroad tracks over there on Colossal Cave, and you only have 1 railroad track.
I can also add that the last I checked, working with the railroad to add a new at-grade connection point to the railroad requires a municipality to trade out 3 other at-grade crossings and close those down. So that becomes very difficult from a Pima County or City of Tucson perspective to trade or close 3 additional crossings to add 1 additional crossing.
So where's that written? I'm a documentation kind of girl, and I would love to read where that is, that they would have to close down 3. And then the other side of that is, was there any discussion with the community at large before you guys just greenlit a project that has some pretty big impacts on a lot of people in our area?
So the requirement comes from Union Pacific. We can
Okay.
put you in touch with them. I don't know where it is documented. I've seen it throughout the years. Used to be a 2-for-1 trade-off. Now I'm hearing it's a 3 or 4-for-1. They have basically the oldest rights of the right-of-way.
Oh,
And so
absolutely.
they do not want people messing with their right-of-way at all, wherever possible. So that has been the practice that we've been accustomed to from a DOT perspective in terms of introducing a new at-grade crossing. We can do grade separation and work with them. It takes quite a bit of money, quite a bit of time, and oftentimes that just is very difficult to accomplish. But adding an at-grade rail crossing is very, very difficult in coordination with Union Pacific.
Have we had the conversation? I'm just trying to solve a problem. Have we had the conversation with them that this is a challenge for a very large, growing community? Have we had the conversation? It is way out from everything else. Maybe it could be something that would be advantageous to them as well. Just a conversation, not necessarily assuming because of past actions that is the only solution.
We have had conversations with them, not specific to the development pieces, but regarding development in general and the introduction of new housing units and trips being generated. So that position has maintained throughout the years as we've had a variety of different conversations with them. We encourage all of our developers when they have to have that conversation with the railroad. They essentially hire a traffic engineer, and that traffic engineer is responsible under the purview of the developer to examine and pursue the options for following the regulations that are identified in code for access points and trip generation. So we can't force anything beyond that onto a developer. If they and their traffic engineering team can find a solution that works, we are required to approve that if it passes our examination and follows all the regulations in code. As far as public outreach is concerned, I would kind of defer to development services on that. I know there was extensive outreach related to the development. Public meetings and such were held. From a transportation perspective, we weren't really brought in until they began to look at site development and began the traffic impact study in earnest to examine what the trip generation and the impacts on the transportation network were going to look like.
I think regarding the public hearings, is there any way, I don't recall them for Vale Crossing. So if there's a way to maybe, I mean, we got an 1,800 member database. If you can let us know and we can help spread the word.
We can certainly do that, and I can coordinate with Rob in terms of, you
Yeah.
know, laying out some of that history for you. We did have a question come to our Transportation Advisory Committee in December that regarded the Success Drive access point and the public hearing process. And I believe that Development Services helped us put together that response, which did identify the public hearings that took place. For the project.
Yeah,
Well, they did put a park on the
I don't remember.
north side of the south track and put houses on the
Do
other
you wanna
side.
talk?
If there is a specific question.
Okay. Hello.
I have a question on this same thing. You said it was coming from Union Pacific, but aren't they subject to federal? Oh, are they?
The mic is just for people at home.
Well, yeah, you just need to speak a little louder.
Okay. Isn't Union Pacific subject to federal regulation? Like, would that be where it's coming, or is that a place where we could work for change? Because I'm sure we're not the only place in the country that runs into this.
I'm not really sure how federal regulation would impact their ability to require a trade-off for the introduction of a new access point to their rail line. I think that is an internal policy of the railroad company themselves, and they can impose whatever that trade-off requirement is my general understanding. I haven't really looked into it much further than that.
So if they wanted to require 5 or 6 or 10, it sounds like they could just do that.
I don't think they want to be completely unreasonable, but it feels pretty unreasonable to try to find 3 at-grade crossings in order to introduce a new one.
Yeah.
They're trying to limit their exposure to, at-grade crossings, whether those be vehicles, pedestrians, cyclists, whatnot. So they want to button up their right-of-way as much as possible and limit and eliminate some of the access points that have been developed over the years. There are a huge number of them that they have to address already.
Okay, thank you.
Question. People wanted to get notified. You put it in some kind of a paper, usually a notification. Is that correct? I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be the Arizona Daily Star.
Are you talking about general notification? Yes.
Some kind of a notification, public notification.
Yes.
And do you put it on a website?
Normally, we will send out mailings to the affected.
But that's only
properties.
to people within within 200 to 300 feet of the area you're talking about, correct? So the people here are talking, and so I mean they're asking for notification. Notification does go out. I mean, we had the same problem in city of Tucson.
Mhm.
Something you all may want to do is maybe notify the Vail Voice, because people that comes out once a month, and they have a website that a lot of these people here who are complaining about notification, I assume would be looking at that, and so they can get the word out, for something in this area. But I just wanted to make sure they understand the notification is very limited by law and cost.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'll pass it along to my higher ups about that. I think that's definitely a good suggestion.
So the other question I have is this right turn only U-turn thing. How is that going to affect our historical buildings like St. Rita's and the Old Vale Post Office?
My understanding is that it will not impact those. There is a little wrinkle that we have to deal with Union Pacific, who owns right-of-way along Colossal Cave. We have an easement to that right-of-way that essentially will require an updated agreement with Union Pacific to allow a portion of that left turn swooping move to enter into that right away.
Yeah.
But to my knowledge, the buildings are not to be impacted.
All right, I want to hear from JJ.
Sure. I think I needed roller skates. He's zeroing in on his mom. Yeah, to zero in on his mom.
Oh, don't do that.
And I could move up front if that's easier now.
Well, I don't know if you want to transition because I feel like you're in the hot seat. now,
Sure.
so-
We can switch.
Happy
If anyone
to.
has any more questions, again, my email is robert.donaldson@pima.gov. I'm always happy to answer any questions. Thank you all. Thank you. Have fun.
Is this you, right?
No, got mine.
Please.
Okay. Okay. I'm JJ Lamb, and I'm the president of Vale Preservation Society. I'm gonna start out by saying, oh man, that makes my mind go blank. I'll stand by you.
All right.
Okay. I'll just say I have great respect for people who develop and who take all those risks. You guys, help build communities. So just know that that's part of, what I think about too. But I understand that we don't want to put all of the responsibility, all the financial risk on developers. But I'm going to say that it would really be great, and maybe this needs to be memorialized in a policy, that there needs to be a real look and consideration taken for the residents. And in the case of this area between the tracks, of the historic resources. There is nothing else left in Vale. Everything else has been lost to development, and that's, there's probably no one here that's old enough to have been part of those decisions. But those decisions were made because of policy, Pima County policies, quite frankly. So, Vale lost an opportunity when the Rancho del Lago estate was bulldozed. That could have been a great river walk with unique shops, something really special and authentic. We don't have that opportunity anymore. We have the area between the tracks. That is the last historic place left in Vale. And we're very fortunate that what's there is Vale's oldest building. Part of it was built in 1900, actually. So this is a territorial era building. And the Shrine of Santa Rita across the street, which is an incredibly beautiful building, and to my knowledge, the only shrine in the United States built to a Japanese Japanese citizen who became an American. And then we've got historic Highway 80. The 1926 alignment, and this is probably going to impact part of that. That's Arizona's Mother Road. And someday it's going to have just as much cachet and bring in, if we're thinking about the economy, things like Mother Roads, Route 66, Highway 80, actually are economic drivers. And historic places are economic drivers. If that's part of what we all consider. I consider sense of place is really important. I want the children who grow up in Vale, whose parents, they're new here. They've got another hometown that tugs at their heartstrings. But we have a responsibility to make sure that there are special places, unique places left in Vale for our children and our grandchildren to recall fondly, to recognize as something special. We don't want a national chain building to be the thing that they have to remember this special about their community. So is this turn going to impact that area between the tracks? I would say yes. The curb is already only 12 feet away from the Oldville post office. And if we're going to think about economics and protecting people's investment, by the time that building is open, this community will have invested really close to $1 million. And that's a lot when you think about, a grassroots effort. That's a big investment by a lot of people and some businesses. And I want to thank Diamond Ventures. They understood how important this is. I have done a little research into these Michigan turns. And I would say that really, if this moves forward, as it goes into a plan, we need to think about what are the steps that can be taken to mitigate this Michigan turn. And those need to be incorporated into the plan rather than going back and doing mitigation after the fact, which is just going to cost more money. We need to think about what those mitigations might be. And I also think that there's going to be some really large semis come through. And maybe a mitigation is that those large semis over 50 feet don't get to, they have to go down Marianne Cleveland Way to turn in, that they are not allowed to possibly clog up that whole intersection. Can you imagine? Because this happens. There's 2 trains on the north track and on the south track. And so you could potentially have all the lanes filled with people, and then you can have traffic backed up on the south track all the way down to the interstate, and the north track all the way to the traffic light. So I've seen that. How long does it take, and who gives first? It's like one of those, remember those little games we used to play in the car where you moved around the little squares? It could be like that. And what happens when one of those semis or a truck or a teenager driving too fast, tries to make that turn? They're going to run right into the Oldville post office. That building, the last building, it was the center of the community. And the work we're doing is going to make it that third space again. It could just take out all that work and that $1 million that community members have worked so hard to raise that money and make donations themselves. I think that needs to be part of the thought process. I mean, it just seems respectful. So, thank you.
More questions, or should I jump into transportation update? All right, we'll jump right in. So I just have a few updates for you today. We've broken out into a few different categories. I'll start with our capital projects. So Pima County has a series of capital projects that we're moving forward. In this area, we are at 60% design level for South Howden Road multi-use path. That is completing connectivity between Saurita Road and Camino del Toro. This is a grant-funded project that is using some transportation alternatives funding, federal funding, so it takes a little bit longer to move federal-funded projects forward, but we're in pretty good shape as far as this is concerned. It's a $1.4 million project, and Pima County is contributing a local match requirement for that. In terms of studies, we've been working closely with Micah Mountain High School and some of the access and safety issues that have been identified there. So County DOT completed our enhanced pavement striping in front of the student driveway to encourage student drivers to edge out a little bit further to improve their sight distance for oncoming traffic. This issue is not over. We're still dealing with coordination with the high school. We've also engaged with a traffic engineering consultant to do an examination and look at potential roadway modifications. And we have an update meeting scheduled being scheduled for February with the high school, just to provide an update and let them know where we are and to begin that examination in earnest. Let them know where we are with bringing the consultant team on board and looking at options to improve that access point. On the impact fee category, we've updated the ordinance that's required by state law. The number of building permits in the Southeast Service Area, that includes Vail, Rocking K, and Corona de Tucson, has averaged just over 600 per year over the last 5 years. That appears to be going up. In 2023, there were 858 permits issued, and that number appears to be sustaining through 24 and possibly 25. So that clearly makes this the highest growing area in the county. So we use our impact fees to collect revenue from new housing development, new types of development that then we can apply to infrastructure related improvements for that area in which the impact fee is collected. So we have transportation impact fees. There's also fees that are applied for drainage and floodway and other types of infrastructure elements that are required as well. I think we dealt with a good portion of the development projects. I will add that we are expecting to activate the new traffic signal on Old Spanish Trail and Rocking K Loop, I believe as early as tomorrow. That should be going on. So that's a new signal that we worked closely with the developer to ensure that the design met our standards and was adequate for all legs of traffic feeding into that intersection. And then that will become part of Pima County DOT's network for us to maintain. There are a couple other signals coming on board. One includes Old Spanish Trail and Camino Loma Alta. And then I believe, I think that's it for those. You may be familiar with Hanson Ridge. Hanson Ridge is the development's required to place a new traffic signal at the intersection of Colossal Cave and Trotter Sisters. That complicates the issue of Success Drive and the access point in between the tracks, no doubt. The Hanson Ridge and the public art, yes. That area has recently been annexed by the city of Tucson, so County DOT is not really involved in the Trotter Sisters Colossal Cave signalized intersection. We have essentially had a handoff with the city of Tucson in terms of where we left the project, and they've kind of taken over the traffic analysis and development review process for that. I think that's really it in terms of what Rob was able to cover and what we have on our update list for development. There's a few other projects that are sponsored by other agencies. One includes the Valencia Road expansion from Kolb to Houghton. That's a City of Tucson project. I believe it's part of the original RTA 1 package. And the city's administering to improve the 4-lane road to a 6-lane divided road, include a multi-use path and drainage improvements and enhanced intersections that include Old Vale Road and Nexus Road. The expected completion for that is 2026, according to the city of Tucson. So I haven't really looked too much further into that. Say again? Late summer. Very good. We've been doing a lot of coordination with ADOT in terms of the I-10 work near Vail. There's been a lot of issues related to large vehicles, trucks, and others trying to avoid the congestion on the construction area. So we've worked closely with our Sheriff's Department and Department of Public Safety on the state side, as well as Arizona DOT, to remediate some of that and provide some solutions to really reduce that dumping of vehicles onto the local network that's not really supposed to be happening. I think that is really it for me. I will mention that hopefully you're familiar with the RTA Next package. That's all scheduled to be put for a vote in early March. We are staying very clear in terms of avoiding endorsement or whatnot. The county has worked very closely with RTA in order to identify county-sponsored projects within unincorporated Pima County. That does include an improvement that we are targeting to alleviate some of the congestion and traffic needs associated with Colossal Cave. The way we've written it, we would like very much to look at what the options are so that maybe it's not exactly Colossal Cave for that transportation investment, but we could look at an alternative alignment that might avoid the historic area and provide crossing over the railroad tracks at another point. So we've described the project in that manner. We won't really be getting into that until later period of RTA Next development, but we're trying to create that flexibility within that project so we're not locked into one thing, but we can examine the best solution for the community. Sure.
Seneca Creek, is that where they were having the issue with the big trucks and stuff?
I think that is. I'm not sure off the top of my head for that one. For Camino Loma Alta and Old Spanish Trail, the developer's actively working to permit the signal. The reviews of the intersection design and proposed road upgrades have been coordinated with DSD, and I think it's still under review process. So all of that goes into Rob's group with Development Services, and then they reach out to Transportation and Flood Control District and other departments within Pima County to facilitate that review. So that's kind of in the review process at this point.
Okay, so there's
That's
no
really all I have.
completion. There's no completion date as of yet.
I haven't seen one.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Hi. Good
Hi.
afternoon. I'm Ryan. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Couple questions. Where I live in Corona de Tucson, we're in phase 4 of RTA Next, which actually means 2 decades from today, so 2046. A couple things I just want to bring to attention. That road gets narrower, the speed limit goes up to 50. And I don't know if you've ever tried to make a left-hand turn on Houghton, but it's terrifying because all of Tucson is going back home to the Santa Ritas. But there's no consideration for us to get an improvement for 20 years. They managed with the sale and the the data center to blaze a path, but it's not connected to the bike path, and the county put up a no trespassing sign. So even if I wanted to ride my bike to the loop, I can't. So I was just wondering, what's the mechanism, if any, for somebody who lives in Corona de Tucson to be able to either access the loop or get some traffic infrastructure so I can make a left-hand turn onto the highway? That's it.
So those are great questions. A couple things that I didn't mention on the planning side. We are actively developing a transportation safety action plan. We're doing that in close coordination with the jurisdictions within Pima County. So from our perspective, it didn't really make sense to develop a safety action plan for only unincorporated roadways. So we partnered with the city of Tucson and Oro Valley and other communities to do a comprehensive safety action plan. What we're hoping to do there is to be able to identify safety needs within the network and projects associated with those needs. That doesn't guarantee that we have funding for those projects. It helps us more clearly articulate the needs, so then we can pursue funding opportunities through grants or the Board of Supervisors or other mechanisms.
Okay.
We have also launched a transportation master plan, which is going to look beyond safety at essentially identifying what the transportation needs for unincorporated Pima County transportation network are. So those two plans are kind of happening hand in hand. They're the public outreach for the safety piece has pretty much wrapped up, but the public input for the master plan is going to be launching very soon. We're developing the website and survey and outreach materials for that. We're trying to be very cognizant of not stepping in front of RTA Next and confusing the public and all of that stuff, but keep an eye out for that. If you have any questions or want more information, feel free to contact us. We can help you get plugged into that. As part of our safety action plan, one of the things that we want to look at is a better approach to managing speeds throughout our network. We found that there's some inconsistent speed limit applications of similar facilities that have different speed limits set to them. A lot of those are just kind of historical legacies that we are saddled with, and we want to create a mechanism by which we can clean that up, standardize speed, bring speeds down in a lot of those areas where it contributes to a less safe conditions on the network.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
When you guys do put it out for public consumption, is there a way that we can get on that mailing list, or we can put it in the chat for those that are?
Absolutely. I can work with Elaine to get it to your group. Right now we're targeting, I believe, like 6 in the field events, but there will be opportunities online as well. So we want to blast that out as wide and far as possible. Our focus will be the unincorporated residents and the residents that use the unincorporated pieces of the network. Undoubtedly, we're going to see input from, residents of the city of Tucson and other communities, and that's fine. We will certainly take those, gather them up, and pass them along to our, partner agencies there. But we very much want to focus on the needs of the Vail community, Green Valley, all the way out in Ajo, and all of the responsibilities that we have throughout the 2,200 roadway miles that we're responsible for within all of Pima County. Great. Fantastic.
Could you give us your email address too?
Sure. I could do that. I mean, my last name's a little more complicated to spell, but I can read it off for you now, or you can get it from Elaine later, whatever your preference is.
Oh, yeah.
All right. It's Paul.Casertano. So that's CASERTANO at Pima.gov. And if you have trouble with that, contact Elaine. She's got direct access to me. All right. Yep.
Anyone else?
The question from the chat is the impact study publicly available?
The impact study is publicly available on our website. So that includes an update on the projection of what the anticipated collections of impact fees for different service areas will look like through 2035, and then projects identified from transportation to utilize those impact fees and build facilities or improve facilities that are essentially triggered by development that's planned within those impact areas. Very good, thank you.
We happen to have Lieutenant Jacob here with the Pima County Sheriff's Department. Does anybody have a question concerning? Dan?
What was the situation today with the shelter in place at Cienega? There was
This is shelter in place in Cienega.
Just curious about the shelter in place at Cienega High School today. I got a notification. There was something about somebody with a knife or.
So there was an incident at, I don't have all the specific details. Not part of the investigation, although I briefed. So the intricate details about what ended up occurring in this whole thing. I may not be able to tell you specific, but essentially there was an incident at a park where some students and a person who was utilizing the park that's just east, and it's like on the northeast corner of the football field. And there was an incident between students and a person who was playing basketball. There was some mocking involved between the parties, and some rocks were thrown. And the person on the basketball court, I guess, produced a knife. So I'm not sure on all the details, but like I said, there was an incident between 4 students. They automatically initiate a lockdown if there's any incident involving students in or around the schools. So they put out a notice today about the incident. The school actually made the notification of lockdown. Sure.
Please tell your deputies thank you for the good response.
Oh, sure. And all parties were contacted and interviewed, and I'm not aware of the decision that was made as to what law enforcement action will be taken or what have you. So that I'm not privy to at this moment. I know our detectives came out and conducted interviews, and then that's taken over from patrol, and I'm a patrol oriented commander. So
Did that have the same thing to do with the police vehicles across from the school?
that's where we located one of the parties that was initially they claimed that he was the suspect, but it turns out that there was some interaction on both ends.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
Sure. Anybody else?
So before we close, many thanks to our speakers tonight, to Paul and Rob, and also, as usual, many thanks to Gerald, our techie, to you Facebook folks, thank you for watching, and to you all especially, thank you for attending. And if you'd like more information about us, be sure to fill out your, put your email address down on the sign in, and we'll get you on our list. You're on it. Okay. So anyways, thanks for coming tonight. Happy New Year to everyone, and drive home safely.
I'm sorry, I have one quick question. Is that anybody here from Rocking Cave?
Yeah.
You're all from Rocking Cave?
No. Yeah. We live there, or are you looking for
No,
something?
so he's actually associated with the community here that has involvement with the park. Yes. Can I just talk to you guys separately? It's not a public forum type thing, but I just got a question for one of both of you. I don't know if you can answer it or not. Maybe we can, thanks.
Can I get